You understand what I'm saying? And it was Moses. The Egyptians was not that dumb. Doggone Pharaoh was not that dumb to know whether he had a child or not, and somebody go find a damn child outside and bring him back up and he raises him. Come on. This is some fool. You ain't that stupid. You know it ain't your child because the first thing you holler, it ain't mine. Especially you doggone brothers, it ain't mine. You see what I'm saying? You think that they ain't no doggone child, so we know that this was the actual ark, not now. So we know this is going on now. We talk about this Sirius. There's a part in this book about ancient Egyptian Sirius, the Sirius mystery, and also in Osiris Egyptian Resurrection, I think 1 or 2, where they talk about the Pharaoh Pepi completing his incarnations where he did not have to go to any more classrooms and he became a small star in the Sirius solar system. That particular small star is the same as your soul rising up and completing the classroom time. You go to another classroom after you leave here and you become a small star. Which you see that Jesus Christ became a small star because the halo around his head is that particular small star that you can do by raising the chakras, the kundalini, and the whole 9 yards and burning up the karma and completing your mission here on earth. I asked where Master Farah Muhammad went. I asked Melchizedek, he said, well, he's not a small star. Well, I said, that would sound crazy, but I understand that Pepi was a small star, which means raising the godhood. Imhotep raised himself to godhood before he left because they started worshiping him as a god because they understood that he raised himself to godhood and didn't have to come back and repeat this over. As well as Ani, which the papyrus of Ani, the book of coming forth by day, is talking about. Raising yourself, which is talking about the transmigration of the transformation of a soul going to higher levels. So, when we talk about Atan being this star, or Allah being this star, or Jehovah being this star, or Yahweh being the star, which is all talking about the star Sirius. The star Sirius is the form of the first man that ever lived. Not Adam, but then again, let's look at Adam. Adam comes from Atum, and Atum is identical to Atan. And the mud fashion of Adam is also called the Kaaba, which is the black god, the Ka and the Ba, which is talking about God that they make the pilgrimage to Mecca. They call that Allah. So we say the first soul in heaven is called Ansut, which meant that the triple blackness of space, that I got to always say, because the triple blackness of space, which is in the constellation of Draco, which is the great mother, cuts her vagina open, and in the south gate reveals the first star. But as Allah or as God does things, once he does something, he makes it a law. Since you are a physical law, God had to have been you first in the flesh. But since you are the first people on earth, black people, we know that that particular God up there is black. Because his reflection comes from the triple blackness of space behind him. So in actuality, his mother, her reflection that comes, she said, I'm so super black that I can't see myself, so I have to make a reflection so the world or so the universe can see me. Her first star, which is Sirius, or Soot, the first of 8 stars, this is number 8, the 8th star. Her first star is a reflection of her. Behind her is the triple blackness of space, just like the melanin in you, the black dot reflects the actual crown chakra. Everybody on that? So the first soul that we know of is that of a black man called Sut, Sutnesi, Atan, Raheru, Kahudi, which is her that will come again. He's ever coming, which will touch down also again. So in actuality, that particular star we see up there is a soul, is God, because when we look at things, they said this religion was advanced to the point that when we look at things, we did not separate science from the actual religion or from spirituality. They are one and the same. Science is the explanation of spirituality. So these are some things we wanted to get into also. Now, let's get to serious matters so we can go into this alien agenda. Number one, we are hoping that we're going to deal with some things. We're going to deal with Khalid Muhammad. We're going to deal with Farrakhan. So y'all stick around. Now I need some time checks. I need some officials here to let me know when it's time for me we can make a little break. You know, so we can get some things.
We got 45 minutes.
We got 45 minutes. So we're going to go for 45 minutes. And y'all let me know when that time is up. And we're going to go for a break. Y'all don't go nowhere because we got some juice. Like I said, you know what I'm saying? If this was Michael Jackson, with a shaved off nose, white skin, y'all will be doggone knocking the door down for him to do an encore. So please stay. You understand what I'm saying? But when somebody's saying, see what I'm saying here is, We are at the time that we can physically, spiritually move the beast off the planet. But this is no bullshit. This is real stuff. This is real stuff. We can do this now. But see, the whole key is, you notice all the Afrocentric movement, when you ask them how we getting out of this, they never can tell you nothing. They give you some philosophy. Teach it to your kids. I believe in children of the future. That old bullshit. We talk about the real deal stuff here. So you all got to stay around and look at this stuff now. You can't be leaving now because I'm telling you, this stuff is getting ready to hit. We already know that 1995 is it. We've got this thing now, and we open up the actual vortex on May the 8th, 9th, and 10th. So we got the actual juice, and you got to get some of the juice. Okay, now, let's go into this. Number one, we know that we are hoping that Haiti, either if they call sanctions on Haiti, but we're hoping that they bring the troops up in there. They bring the troops up in there, we can counter that because the Vodun God masters over there, priests already said, and they come, we getting ready to go to war too. But see, the only thing can be the physical war is the spiritual war. Right? And because this particular grace period is over, and we actually got cosmic juice, I'm going to tell you about the scar on my head to let you know that this is cosmic juice. I'll tell you about that in a few minutes. I might tell you about that now. I go on all these tapes and I tell you diet, meditation, and study. So the last 2 weeks I said, I'm chilling, you know. My queen went out of town, and I say, okay, I'm chilling. I ain't going to do no meditation or nothing. I ain't going to clean up the doggone house and shit. Ain't going to take out put the dishes in the sink, you know, just be a typical man, you know, just chill. So what happened was I did this ritual, and I pour these libations every morning. So when I did the ritual, when you ask for something, they say, as soon as you ask God for it long enough, it's going to come. So I did the ritual and said, let's get the juice going. So I did the ritual the day that she got on the plane. I did the ritual. Okay, that was about 2.5 weeks ago, because she's coming back Wednesday. And I got to go clean up the house Monday. Get the funk out, you know. But see, so I did the ritual. So the juice started coming. I went to Jackson, I went to Chattanooga last Sunday, and I was doing it in the juice store. I said, oh, I feel the juice coming on, because it came on like that before. And the current hit, and I said, okay, I got the juice now. I said, I got the juice, it's on. But the last time it hit, I was meditating. So what happened was I was taking the juice and I was putting it throughout my body. Now this is something you can do for the simple fact this current is here now. So all you got to do is start meditating, and you can get your cells regenerated and all of that. So I was meditating, but this time I wasn't meditating. I took all this colon cleansing, got cleaned all out, so got the vessel cleaned all out and stuff, but I wasn't meditating. So what had happened was the juice came, and I meditated one Wednesday night for about 15 minutes, and then just enough to open it up, open up the channels. But I wasn't meditating, and this energy came in, and when it came in, it didn't come throughout my whole body, so it came around my head, and all this energy just started coming in, and all I know is it started raining that night. It started raining and thundering and lightning, and that energy was real powerful, and the energy lifted me off the bed, threw me into a stereo. I got a stereo player right beside the bed. You know, all black people, they ain't got nothing in the house. They got a TV and they got some music, radio or something playing. So I had a CD player, and it threw me into the CD player and bust my head open. But then again, I didn't know it because I went back to sleep, because I just woke up with a pillow full of blood. And then when I was talking to the spiritual sister, I said, well, what happened? She said, she started channeling. She said, and the channel came through, and they said, your own power threw you off the bed. Said, we threw you off the bed to bust your head open, because you supposed to have been meditating and taking this energy and taking it throughout your body. So since the energy piled up and it wasn't situated throughout your body and balanced, it was too much and it threw you off the bed. I said, well, man, I felt it and bust my head open. So I said, now this is a physical manifestation of the power that is on the planet now. So now we got the juice. You don't have to do nothing. Now, number one, like I said before, I know a lot of you in here are saying, I'm learning this stuff, but the first thing you say is, well, my family ain't gonna get with it. I know that's everybody thinking that. I want to teach my family, but I go home and they tell you I'm a crazy nigga in the room. I know that this is a deep concern with you. The reason why it is not happening that way is because your family, you're supposed to let the dead lie with the dead. That's right. Because you exist, you are a representative of your family that is dead. And if you got more people in your house that's down, then cool. But each person, you are a representative, and you are having the divine sacrifice for your other brothers and sisters while they're out here shaking their booties and walking around with bull cans in the whole 9 yards. But you people right now, because you got up on a Sunday and came to something consciousness, I'm telling you that the actual extraterrestrial confederation is not in the sky. You looking at them. So therefore, you are the representative for your family while they are ignorant. So now, don't, and the first thing you do when we learn a little bit of knowledge, we go try to run back and tell them and get beat up. Because number one, it's not for them. There's going to be a physical manifestation that the mass is going to bear witness to in a couple of months. But once they bear witness to this in a couple of months, you will be there to say, hey, listen, this is what's going on. This is that. They're going to come running to you. But now is not the time to be called crazy about running to them. They're going to come running to you because remember, the masses never got nothing. You understand what I'm saying? That's why all the doggone black conscious people from the 1960s and the revolutionary is running around this motherfucker crazy now. And don't know what the hell happened. Excuse me for all that, whatever. We talking to family now. Whatever. I don't care no more. The reason why they doing that is for one reason. They thought they could get the masses of the people. The masses of the people are spiritually dead. They'll call it popular culture. They go by what smells good, what tastes good, what looks good, what sounds good, and what feels good. And that's all they're going to go by. So therefore, the masses of people never got nothing. It's always the small nucleus. You know the 85% deaf, dumb, and blind, the 5% are the righteous, and the 10% running it. Well, see, the actual Illuminati or the actual New World Order, Tavistock, or whatever you want to call them, they got that from us. They looked into the mystery system of Africa and Hemmitt, which is one and the same, and they said, hey, the priests ran the society. So it was a small nucleus. That's why John and Clark told you, when you go to Africa, you kill off 12 or 16 African kings, you never get to the real man, them decoy kings. So they running that on us. It's a pyramid shape. You got all the peons on the bottom, and when you get to the top, that's where you get to the real deal people, and that's the smaller it gets. So therefore, this particular nucleus, the way you do things is you don't try to go out and liberate the masses. The masses is a popular culture that goes by current. That goes by what is in fashion. So therefore, what you do is you take the nucleus and make the nucleus strong. The quality, not the quantity. And once the radius of the nucleus gets strong, it will radiate, the light will permeate, and therefore the masses will see the light. But you don't try to go out and take the light, you wear yourself thin. You understand? So this whole thing about he got the masses of our people, that's bullshit, and the white man is feeding that system. Check into that. Now, we want the thing to go down with Haiti. We know that they're going to impose sanctions. Now I heard they're getting ready to go into Haiti. Yeah. Well, the vote-on priests already said they're going to Haiti. We got them. Okay? We got them. Therefore, since there's no such thing as time or geography and dimensions, all we got to do is tap into what we got to tap in at this time, and we can take the beast off the planet, because the spirit's going to be there. Now, I'll tell you what you got to do. It's simple. I told you on the radio, if anybody heard the radio show. But we got to start doing this from this day on. We get ready to take the beast off the planet. You all trust me on this one. Why? Because I'm not a nigga up here asking you to give me no money as far as follow me nowhere, follow me to no promised land. I'm not telling you what. I'm not telling you to go to no economic plan. I'm not telling you that I'm the Holy Messiah and you not. We all the doggone Holy Messiahs. That's what the rising of the Christ means. It means one who exalts himself to a level of spirituality and an entire race of people based on the esoteric doctrine. And that entire race of people are you, because you were Christ before you fell into this. Check? Yeah. So, once this thing hits, and we're going to start doing some things, the Godhead is getting together in Atlanta today. We're getting ready to start doing some things tonight and Monday. Tomorrow morning, we're going to do some things. Number one, well, I'll get into that in a few minutes. But anyway, hold on to that. We'll get into the solutions at the end. But remember, when Haiti hits, that is a dimension of spiritual ass whipping, because the white man is going on physical. But you don't fight a devil by becoming the beast and going on the physical level. He's the master of that. You automatically win. Muhammad said that'll be like taking candy from a baby if you stand up against the white man. Like I said before, I was in a march in 1977. I thought we was doing something. I was in high school. I thought we was doing something. And the undertaker took me down into the police department in Mullins, South Carolina, population 7,000. And when I went down into the basement of the police department, they got about 25 police. I went in the basement, and they had enough weapons in there to wipe out all of Atlanta. So now you can imagine what Atlanta has. They got enough weapons. If they got population 7,000, Mullins, South Carolina, in the middle of nowhere, they can wipe out all Atlanta. What you think Atlanta got? They got enough to can wipe out Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. And New York got enough to wipe out the whole half. So when you going up there with your little pistols, and you done messed around and messed up and done traded in half of them to Toys R Us anyway. So therefore, they done got you on that. That's the reason why they did that. And we're going to show you some other things, too, that came off the spiritual realm. The whole gang warfare and the drive-by shooting was started by the government. We're going to get into that now. We're going to get into that, too. So now you coming up with this, you can't win no war like that. He's the master of that game. You don't fight him with that. You above that. So Martin Luther King had it right, but he didn't understand. It didn't mean love your neighbor. It means get on a high spiritual manifestation. So when Jesse Jackson told me we must take the moral high ground, that's the mundane level. This is moral teaching. That don't have nothing to do with nothing. That was for savage people to learn moral teachings. You know right from wrong by 12. And most black people being spiritual, you know right from wrong. You understand? You're born with that. That's your nature, is to be righteous. Because why? Because you're the only people that live with the slave master this much and never rose up against him. That shows humanity within itself. You understand what I'm saying? You tried to this day, you still begging the doggone compromise with him. But right now, it ain't about compromising with him. It's about getting him off the planet. And we are at the hour to do this. So now, what we want to do is, once this thing hit in Haiti, we're going to be ready for it because you're going to start doing some things. And if you do this, hopefully, if you do this up till the 19th, we want you to do this from now on. Don't skip a day. White man tell you to be on the job, you be on the job, and if you late, you'll call in. Don't try to skip a day, and if you skip that morning, you try to get it by that night. It's real simple what we're going to do. Now, let's go on to some other things. Number one, the Afrocentric community totally rule out Atlantis and Lemuria or Alchemoria. Why? Because they are interested in proving to white people that the pharaohs are black, and they're not interested in covering the real truth. They already got a tribe in Africa, or a nation in Africa that already can trace their history all the way back to Lemuria. And we talking about a couple of 100,000 years, maybe over 1 million years. Now, Elijah Muhammad said that the creation of the mutant, he said, when I talk about the creation of the white man, I'm talking about the creation of the white man in this 26,000 year history. There's another 26,000 year cycle before that. He said, but the gods can go back to, he said our accurate number is what, 66 trillion years? He said that because we have no birth record. They can't trace it. And we got some other evidence to know that we were civilized millions of years ago. So now he said, but when I talk about the creation of the mutant 6,000 years ago, and that in reference to the Bible, I'm talking about the white man that's on the scene today. He said that there's been other 26,000 years periods, and we know that Atlantis fell. Every time we fell, we created a mutant to take us down to the lowest point before we fell, and rose back up again. But what had happened was that there was a creation of the mutant that is documented also in the book, A.E. Powell's book. They got the book, The Astro Body. One of the must-read books to try to find out more of the astral realms. They talk about the human artificials and the whole 9 yards. And they talk about the creation of the mutant by the black magicians of Atlantis. That creation of that particular mutant with the black magicians of Atlantis that they talk about was in Atlantis where this white man was on the scene before. And now I come to find out there's new evidence. I said, well, why would this AWAS fellow, this black god, why would this AWAS fella come to Aleister Crowley? Why didn't he come to black people? Well, number one, we know that black people was dumb in 1904. A few of us. He could have came to some of them, but you wouldn't believe nothing that the black man said. Elijah Muhammad wrote the message to the black man, and you still don't believe it. You see what I'm saying? So now, he came, number one, for simple this fact. I just asked a few questions, and they gave me some more. The higher realm said that Aleister Crowley was one of the original priests in Atlantis that created the mutant. He was a black man in Atlantis. And he was one of the original priests that created the mutant. And as a result, he came karmically tied to cleaning up the mess that he had his hand in on. Now, I'm going to get this book to show you this picture. This book of this particular priest in this stela is called, this is a black priest. If you look at him, his name is Akenaten. He was a priest, I think, in the 26th dynasty or one of those dynasties. And this is his stela. Once Aleister Crowley was a 19th century and early 20th century magician, once he got into his particular mystic and his magician, he went and magic in England. He went over to Europe and he came up on this stela or this particular slate. And this particular person was actually him in another time. But then at this time he had become a white boy because he became his own creation. Now, remember, 20% of white people are not white. They are black. They just have white skin. Some of them have blue eyes, but they have the melanin. You understand? 20% of them do have pineal glands that secrete melanin, but this particular is not only, it didn't come as far as the outside, so we got different mutations, but not a total mutant. So now he became his own creation, and this is why when he came back to Kemet in 1904, Awas gave him the Book of Law. Yeah, gave him this Book of Law, which is a threefold book of melanin and the breakdown of God, which they got some here for 6 bones. The Book of Law, which they have some more, which is a threefold book of the Book of Law. The 3rd chapter is talking about the breakdown of the first 2 chapters is the breakdown of the autonomy of the black man and woman. The 3rd chapter is talking about a Christ figure raising up again, which is Herod is supposed to raise up in this particular cycle, mainly this on the planet now. But this particular book, he gave him this book because he comically had to redo what he did. This is why the Moors and the Egyptians inducted white people both in the mystery system in Kemet and also went up into Moor to try to give this particular mutant alchemy, to try to give him this particular melanin and create a soul for him, because the melanin is the dark night of the soul. Who does not have the seal? They say in the book of Revelation, they say what? The Solomon seal, except anybody with the seal. If you don't have the seal, you don't have a soul. This is how they can tell whether you are soulless or not. But one drop of black blood, I don't care if you white, bright, and damn near white, you got the actual soul. So this is what he had to do, and this is why they had to induct people into the actual mystery system, to actually redo that right, because we put him on the planet. Now this is information that is by the thousands on this white man being created. Plus we got the archaeological documents in the Temple of Seti I, which I have shown several times. Now, one reason why the Afrocentric community just went dead recently, after they learned the history, they couldn't tell you no more, and the shit just blew up. You understand what I'm saying? After a while, Dr. Ben started sounding redundant. John Henry Clark started sounding redundant, because now remember now, those are our brothers and sisters. They did their job. It was for the next crew to take it on to another level. So now they did their job, so don't look for them to do nothing. Y'all can come on around. Y'all can come on around. Tell them to do nothing. Don't look for them to do anything, because they did that. The first thing was man know thyself. You know your history. But like I said before, if you want in Kemet, it says man know thyself, and you already know your history because you live it. You wasn't hit in the head. What does man know thyself mean? Man know that ye are gods. So his first thing is to know the history, then to know the mystery. This is why you got scholars like me, Reverend Valentine, Deborah Blair, Brother Dawood, and a couple of other people started coming on now and started talking about the actual mystery, and now it sounds all crazy, because remember, truth is stranger than fiction. Now, one of the keys to this whole thing is the Afrocentric community went dead. It almost sounds redundant and almost sounds like intellectual liberation masturbation after a while. I remember I went home, like I said, in 82, my mama said, "You've been coming on with this stuff for about 5 years now, and we still ain't free." She said, "We still ain't free." She said, "I know we was the original people." She said, "I knew that when I was a little girl." She said, "Because you know that system came about 20 years before that. And 20 years before that, it always occurred. But the problem, the reason why it occurred is because we never took it to the other level." Now, the Afrocentric community wants you to return to Africa, or wants you to return back to Egypt. But what they didn't realize is this. To return back to Africa and to turn back to the state that you was in Egypt, that was a fallen state. When you first got on the planet, Manetho said that you was 10,000 years of dynastic and pre-dynastic history. They said, who used to rule before then? He said the gods used to rule. And then after the God's chakra center shut down because you got trapped into this third dimension and got separated from the actual other people in Atlantis, the gods, then you had to go into the mystery system and build a mystery system to bring yourself back up to godhood. But that's a fallen state. Even though we do know the fallen state is greater than the state that we're in now. And the white man has never been able to, no other race has never been able to match what we did in our fall. But unfortunate with John Henry Clark and the rest of them, they give you history during the fall. They say, oh, we know of Atlantis, but we don't have enough stuff on it. No, you don't have enough white man scholarship on it, but if you study the occult, you have all you want. So since we didn't do it, white people started claiming it. Get the Secret Doctrines books. Get the esoteric, what's the name of that book? The Esoteric Traditions and the Secret Doctrine by Blavatsky. Get those books. Get these other books of the occult. The Isis Unveiled, when they talk about Atlantis and Lemuria. The occult, you say, oh, that's some spooky stuff. The occult means that which is hidden. Or the esoteric. So you studied the exoteric history, and they only took you back to that. Why? Because they were victims of white man scholarship based on, most of those were people in the school system. And they didn't want to be ridiculed by being this spooky way out person by talking about Atlantis and Lemuria and all this particular stuff and spaceships and all this, for the simple fact they had a code that they had to go by. Because remember, Dawood say even though that's Afrocentric, most of that is Eurocentric. You going by the rules of what the white man telling you you should dictate history. Even though they did a great job of knowing that based on archaeology that we're the original people on Earth, but we got millions of years. That's why you know how in the devil we got one man, it's a doggone humped over man, but we got Lucy, Homo sapiens sapiens, that's a couple of million years old. It don't coincide with another person. Right there you got two people on the earth plane, that's one is an animal man and one is God, the actual people. So what had happened was is we tried to go back to Kemet. It's not going to happen for the simple doggone fact that we didn't fall from Kemet. We fell from godhood into Kemet, and then we fell to what we are now dead. So now if the earth has a birthday and goes back to its original form, that means that you got to go back to the original gods, not Kemet. The white man has tried to match most of our civilizations and stuff, and even he's matched it. He's done a bad job of doing it by killing and all this stuff, but he got all the stuff we got. But what I'm trying to say is even all this technology that we marveling over there, Kemet, the reason why we didn't have a telephone, because you could close your eyes, or you could phone home to anybody you want to phone home to. You didn't need a doggone thing. You see what I'm saying? You didn't need no telephone. You want to call somebody, you just call her. You see what I'm saying? You just call her. And you talk like that. That's why you see on the walls, you don't never see none of them with their mouth open on none of them Egyptian pictures. None of them. Try to look in them. You never see them going, never. You never see any of them with their mouth open. That's because it was a telepathic society. You see what I'm saying? They did everything by mind. Everything. So therefore, you didn't need no doggone spaceship like the man got some tin and all this stuff. You just went to different planets. And the spaceships you see out there are not of some physical structure. They're spiritual chakras of the body. You can become a spaceship. You see what I'm saying? This is how the kind of science we're dealing with here. Anything you think of in your mind, you can do. And this is the science of the gods. So now what we're trying to get, now it makes sense. Why out of all this time we've been here, none of the economic stuff worked for us. None of all the social stuff that all these other races got worked for us. Seemed like nothing worked for us. Even the homosexual took our civil rights movement and made a bigger movement and made more advances for himself than we did. See what I'm saying? Chip O'Neal, when Chip O'Neal was retiring, they said, well, what you can say about something you can forecast in your whole time or when you was in office? He said, when I was the Speaker of the House, he said, I saw one thing that didn't manifest. He said, I saw the black people who made all the doggone rights in the 60s law. He said, I see every other race raise up on them, including the homosexuals. Got more power than black people. Maybe. Because we know we always holler about we don't do this, we don't run business, we don't do this right, we don't do this. It's not made for you to do that. Why? Because you have outgrown that plane. You did that 3,000 years ago. what is meant for you is to become God and God only. Think about it. What is meant to you is to become God and God only. So therefore, nothing else is going to work for you. This is why no economical system or anything you try to do is going to work for you, including going up in some church and listen to a man holler at you for 20 minutes. We're going to get into that today, too. We're going to touch that today, too. Now, I want to go into some things, because we know now that they said that the face on Mars, you got a face on Mars, which is a Sphinx on Mars, and you got a Sphinx here. And they said the Sidonian Sphinx, that you can get Richard Hoagland's book, Monuments on Mars, or they even have the tapes here, set in the same exact circumference as the Sphinx here. And they got them on all the planets. That Sphinx on Mars is approximately 1 million years old, so they know that this particular Sphinx here is 1 million years old, because the last time they carbon dated, before the carbon dating run ran out, was 1 million years ago. It was 80,000 years ago. Then they said, we're saying it's older than that. They said, but that's what the carbon dating says. They said, but it can be older than that. That's when the carbon dating system runs out. It is at least 1 million years old, and because the pyramids is built in the same particular place, we know that that is older. Because if you get Zechariah Stitch's book, War of God and Man, what's the hell going on?
Friday and Saturday.
Oh, yeah, okay. Somebody do something. If you get Zechariah Stitch's book, Stairway to Heaven, they show you that Alan H. Gardner, who is a hieroglyphic expert, who gives you the book Egyptian Grammar, says that he has done hieroglyphics readings on the temple, on the pyramids, and said they're older than that, because the pharaohs had a problem. When they get to something they ain't got no name on it, they put their name on it. They say, I got this. Because they know, even if they did, because they got pictures of Ramesses at the temple of Luxor putting his name, cartouche, over the cartouche of Tutankhamun. So they said it was forged. The reason why they couldn't carbon date it, because we understood that the pyramids used to have white limestone. And they took the white limestone pillar casings off during the time when the Arabs took over to build Cairo. And they got pictures in here of the white limestone casings right here that was on the pyramids. And you can get this book, Secrets of the Great Pyramids by Peter Tompkins. Now, this is the reason why they got problems carbon dating the pyramids, because the stones you were seeing are the blocks that was under it. It was smooth like this. And it had a black capstone. And when the sun used to hit that black capstone, it would shine. That's why it's best to get Earth, Wind, and Fire representation of that in the album cover, All in All, from 1977, that we know Earth, Wind, and Fire was down on it. Because every last one of them, in the music, and all that, as well as George Clinton, and as well as the OJs, Sugar Hard, all the brothers from the 70s was getting down to that now. So we got a researchers of the music under the underground, and now we got the rappers talking about it. It comes every so many years. But they was dropping the particular knowledge. But you can get the representation of that, plus the temple of Abu Simbel, because everything was painted. You can get the representation of that in the All in All album cover. I got 4 of them. So I got about 10 of all the albums. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So we got that. Now, that black granite that the sun used to hit and shine, that black granite is not found but one place on the planet. The black granite that's on the capstone of Kemet is only found one place in the world, and that is Stone Mountain, Georgia. Stone Mountain, Georgia. This is what the Rosicrucians say. So we know that it was there, and we know that it was there at the time when the earth was one landmass, and we were one people. They said that we're the only planet that got this many doggone races of people. Based on the separation of climate and the breakdown of Atlantis sinking under the one continental drift, the planet broke up. So now we know that Kemet was pre-existing along with Atlantis, and it was the one that it survived. Now, that means that we go back to man is nothing but the gods also too. Now, the reason why we don't have to include white people in this, because none of the scripts, when they say love your brother, all men are created equal, they didn't mean a mutant to be a part of that, because if he's a mutant, he's not created equal to you. If he has a calcified pineal gland that cuts him off from God and separates him from the higher ego, that means he's not equal to you. So therefore, when all those scriptures was written, and we wrote them, it wasn't talking about the white man. So then we got a fool like Martin Luther King taking our scriptures and talking about being friends to a damn mutant and getting beat in the head. When those things was written, the white man wasn't even on the planet. So therefore, none of this religion has any damn thing thing with you going out and loving white people. It was talking, that was written for you. And when you end up loving white people, always go wrong on your thing, you start hating each other. You see what I'm saying? That's too much love to go around. The dog gonna love the enemy and hate your damn self. You see what I'm saying? Now, one other thing before we get into this alien agenda. Well, we going so doggone fast. Yeah, okay. About 10 minutes. Okay, good. Come to find out that based on the spiritual plane, I called a sister up. I said, I wanted to know about Gerald Massey. Where's Gerald Massey? I said, because he got in the British Museum and he wrote all the stuff. He told the truth. You see, he's one of the few people who look at the scripture and won't even flinch and tell you what time it was. I said, he had to been hooked up with the Brotherhood because some things he wrote is not, I'm quite sure that he had channeled it, and they told him, and so he figured it out when other Egyptologists couldn't figure it out. Budge was up in there and all he was doing just copying down stuff and couldn't understand things. I said he had to be hooked up with the Brotherhood. They said he was hooked up with the Brotherhood. They said, but we're going to give you another information on him. And I didn't even get to try to, I wasn't even asking for this, and they gave me this. They said, number one, he was a black man. He was a black man that was passing. Gerald Massey, and he went into the British Museum because they weren't going to let no black person in, and he went in and copied down the stuff. And he was a black man that was passing. So now we have that particular science coming from the spiritual realm. Then we understand why, and he has these other big volume books, Book of the Beginning, Natural Genesis, and Ancient Egypt Out of the World, but you can get his lectures and cover all of it in the lectures because his stuff is linked in. So you can get Gerald Massey lectures that go into all of the science. But one of the things is, they said, but he kind of messed up because before he died, he's supposed to have told the people that he was black, and therefore that great scholar would have been attributed to us and nothing other than white people. But then again, I said no, because this beast, if they'd have found out he's black, they'd have burned up all his stuff, and we wouldn't even got that. So maybe everything works out the way it works out. Now, how much time we got? Because I need to really get into this.
Yeah, about 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes. Now, I need to get into this. What I can do is, well, let's get into something short then. Okay, let me go back here. Okay, because I got some stuff to get in. I'm going to touch on Minister Farrakhan. I'm going to touch on Khalid Muhammad, because these are some things that's got to be known. We're going to get into that today. Now, the white people are saying that they from Lyra. They're saying that the actual people, Earth was started on Lyra. They said that that everything was seeded from Lyra, but we know that what was seeded from Lyra was, that's just some stuff the white people made up. We know that everything came from Sirius because we know that the original scriptures, whether you go to the Quran, whether you go to the Book of Coming Forth by Day, and whether you even trace it through the Bible or wherever, it goes back to Sirius. And it goes, even Sirius is a part of the Native Americans as well as the people on, as well as the people in the Orient is also, because remember, their calendar is more accurate to the time, even though this is the year 2004, because the calendar is 10 years off of time. Their calendar is most accurate because their calendar has it's 1998 in China. And they're based on a dog star also, based on the Sophic calendar also. But we also know this particular thing too. So these white people are trying to front this particular stuff. And I'm going to tell you another thing why you shouldn't mess with no white people also. But I guess I'll get into that when we get back. Also, because see, the white people tried to, telling you, because these white people is on it. They're working with psychic warfare. And we got a message for black media that they got to get on the ball too. They get ready to get taken out if they don't get on the ball. They got to get on the ball. They got to build an altar right up in this damn store that they're going to have this store to last. But we're going to get into that also too. But they're saying they're from Lyra, but we know that the actual Godhead or the 24 elders are seated from Sirius. Look at this, is coming from the UFO literature. It's coming from a book called UFOs, Friends and Foe. Is the name of the book. Friends are Foe. And it says that the insectoid powers, they're talking about the inserted powers of the New World Order or the government, your white boys. Now this is white people talking. Now, let me tell you what they call them insectoid. Now this is what white people are saying. Now look at this. The insectoid powers fears the black race and have kept them subjective and confused, for they hold the key to knowledge. Their genetic clan information is needed to unlock the secrets from the Sirius data. And the segmented data that unites are also carried into the Indian clans, which is Native American and also India, the black India from India, Indian clans, for some of them are originally from the fourth planet in the Sirius star system. And this is a piece coming from the UFO literature what white people know about you. Okay? I'm going to tell you some other things that happened to me with a group of white witches down in Jacksonville, Florida, also that happened also too. But I guess what we're going to do now, I guess it's time we can go ahead and just break now, because we can go ahead and break. Now, we're going to pass the hat, because we're going to pass the hat. We know this thing was free, but we're not asking you. If you don't have no money, you don't have to pay nothing. But if you got a little something, y'all help me out, because I got rent tomorrow morning. I got rent tomorrow morning, and like I said, I'm a brother here, and I ain't trying to get you to fill out no forms and send me no money each month, or take your food stamps and give to me in the whole 9 yards and stuff. But I'm just a humble brother, but this is all I do now.
You don't have no prayer rag.
Right, and no prayer rag, and no water, and no hot, no thing. Well, I had one brother. So y'all, look here, I need anything y'all can give me. Y'all dig deep and give me some stuff, because I need rent tomorrow morning, and I ain't got jack shit. So y'all can give me some stuff. Otherwise, y'all might see me out there with a little cup and stuff on the or running up to y'all with a little drag talking about I want to wash your windshield in the whole 9 yards. So y'all pass the hat, and whatever y'all want to give and stuff, give, and like we say, the preacher thing, if the music is good and if the saying is good, then if I'm giving you some good knowledge, then give out your heart good, dig deep, or whatever you want to do. We take it all. Anything you can give. And stuff. Anything you can give. Just put it in there and all. If you need another hat, whatever, you all just do that. And y'all pass that around. But y'all make sure that y'all give a little something or whatever y'all want to do.
So you give it back.
That's right. Now y'all, I know it's hot, but look, y'all need to stay to this shit, because this shit getting ready to get very hot in a few minutes. First thing we want to deal with is, before we get into the alien agenda, we want to deal with things that are happening with the Nation of Islam, that in actuality, Minister Louis Farrakhan, and number one, I have to say that I got a deep love for Minister Louis Farrakhan, because Minister Louis Farrakhan was one of the first people to turn me on to knowledge and consciousness. So did your sister get a test? Okay. Knowledge and consciousness. So now we're not here to go at war with our people, but we are here with a deep concern with what is going down with our people, and so therefore we want to tell you what's going on, because the white man has got some things that's going down, and we are falling for this thing. Number one, like I said before, we got to get out of this thing thinking because we can reach more and more masses of the people, we can save stuff, when we already got a doggone couple of thousand people that's already ready to go with the army. It could be the aid to help the other people, but on the other hand, what is happening is we're still trying to reach these doggone black people. Let the dead lie with the dead. So when he fills the Dome Stadium up with 55,000 people, them 55,000 people go in and see him, that's just like going to see Michael Jackson. They get pumped up, and then they leave out and keep on doing the same doggone thing the next day. And this is over and over and over again, because he's been speaking to a sold-out audience since 1985. Even though he started in 1977, you knew of a Farrakhan being what he was in 1984 with the whole Tommy incident and the whole thing that went down with the Jews and Jesse Jackson. The whole key to that whole thing is you never going to get the masses of the doggone people, so therefore you don't have to let this white man play with your ego to put you out and fox you out and put you in a foxhole. So what is happening is this. Now everybody know that Minister Khalid Muhammad been talking and stuff, he's been talking since about 6-7 years. And as a matter of fact, he has toned down some. And we know that what he has said at King Khalid can't be no worse than what he has said all the time before. And you know doggone well that the white man, knowing the white man been tapped into Nation of Islam since Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know doggone well the white man know who Khalid Muhammad is and what Khalid Muhammad has been saying. He's spoken at Columbia University, he's spoken at all these big white schools and been speaking for the last longest. Now all of a sudden the white man done got upset with what Khalid has said, and he probably said something less than what he's really said. You understand what I'm saying? So my point is this ought to let you know that the white man, crafty as he is trying to do a certain amount of things. When he lets you in on his media, you know that he got a plan for your behind. Now, number one, we are smart enough to know at this particular time that anybody is really going to roll and really going to do something for the cracker don't even put popping up like this. Time Magazine, Mr. Louis Farrakhan, Good Morning America, Barbara Walters, and 2020, Donna Hughes, and the whole 9 yards. And the whole time is to keep you off of getting down because they understand at this particular time, the white man knows one thing. If you ain't dealing in the spiritual realm, you ain't dealing with jack nothing. Because he runs this. You understand? And it goes something like this. You have the astral planes, higher astral planes, the demonic planes, and the heaven planes. You have the lower astral planes as the astral planes that the white man is on. He's on our lowest planes of the subplanes is where he goes to. Anything above that, like the third dimension, the white man straight up runs that because he is in a higher plane than that. So therefore, if you deal it in the third dimension on a political, economic, and a mundane level, then you ain't even rolling. You right in his dominion. So the white man understands that the next war that's coming is going to be a spiritual war. He understands that he spent $9 billion in a Hubble telescope not to watch no doggone planets, which he's been doing since he started NASA from the get-go. Which he knows that the Russians was on the moon in 1959, before he went on the moon. So you know doggone well if a white man has been that, when a white man creates time travel with the Philadelphia experiment in 1943 and transports 2 people to 1983 and makes the pact with the doggone Orions in 1959 on an Air Force base in Texas, you know doggone well anything that you talking about power to the people and all that bull job ain't talking about nothing. Because the cracker is dealing on another realm. Right. So all of a sudden, the next thing we know is the Minister Louis Farrakhan is very popular. You understand? But what we're saying now is this white man has got a trick going on. And that trick is to force you out and start dealing with mundane issues. Which the Godhead, which is the great white brotherhood, is talking about the Christ crown chakra, which you got to have the melanin to have, or which is called a black rod of Osiris, is already said. To be in this order, you cannot be scared of nothing. And you should not deal on the same mundane matters as the beast and the dead people. So therefore, in order to deal, you got to be on a higher realm. So you know doggone well that the white man's media runs this society. And if the white man now is putting you on the media, you know it is a trick. It is a trick to keep the people thinking that this is the 1960s and we can stand up for our rights and all of this particular thing, and if we voice our opinion, the white man will go, ooh, I'll give them some more things. But we know that that was a hoax from the get-go, because all he did is made it appear that we were being free, and gave us a few 30 pieces of silver, and 20 years later, after the civil rights movement, we are worse than we were before we even started the civil rights movement. So therefore, we know that anything that this white man is telling you about now, on a mundane level, as far as Jews are the bloodsuckers of the earth, and black people poor in the projects, and all of this kind of stuff here, and all of that. You know, anytime you talk about that, and ain't talking about you. We got the ships, we got the spirits, we got the Naval Marine spirits, and we going to start kicking you in your behind, the sun killing you with skin cancer, and your white woman titties is rotting off with that blue string of breast cancer that they got. If you ain't jamming with that, and talking about on the higher realm, you ain't talking about nothing, and therefore the white man don't have that on his TV. He only have things on the political and a mundane. You got to understand the cosmos, and you got to understand how things get done. You are the gods of the universe, so therefore, the juice that's here for you to fight your war is on the spiritual plane. And if you think you fighting a war on any mundane plane, you ain't doing nothing. Right. You see what I'm saying? So now they got him right where they want it. Because see, the brotherhood has said this. If you go down in his arena, then God help you, because you got the power to be up here. And if you forfeit that power and be dealing in his arena, then therefore you dealing by his laws. And yes, if they wanted to kill him, they could kill him. They let you know that the other day with all the security, with no guns around, and all the security, they shot Colin in the leg. Now, if you really want to know what this cracker is dealing with, the reason why you can't play it and stuff, go get the movie, Tom Berenger's movie, The Sniper. Where these people go, and these people will sit out there for months just to get their man. And they so good, that in the movie they showed one guy, he shot, there was another sniper aimed at him, and he killed a guy by shooting through this guy's telescope and killed him. This is how accurate their snipers are. They Navy SEALs, so if they wanted to get the man, they could do it. But then again, you also know that black people got a price. And anybody can infiltrate anything and blow anybody's brains off at any time. So if they wanted to get to him, they would. So let's not be funny with this mess if you ain't dealing with the Godhead. Yes, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to do these particular things when it came to his fruit of Islam, because at that particular time, the black man had no manifestation of power, and we had to represent to go get our people, because they were so scared of the white man, because he had to show some authority. You understand what I'm saying? But what was in the old cycle, hell, that broke down on him, and he said, I'm leaving y'all crazy niggas behind. You see, and told him it was going to fall. So what in the old cycle, you're supposed to advance his work into another level. Because before he left on his book, not even in the book, but in the tape series of the Theology of Time, he said, I don't want believers, I want God. So therefore, he's saying that the next cycle, you're supposed to exercise yourself on another plane than the beast. Then dealing with the stuff that I had to do. And he said the only reason why I couldn't tell you high metaphysical things, because even in the 70s, when he would say certain things about the people that live up under the earth, he said, but y'all ain't ready for that yet. You wasn't ready for it then. You see what I'm saying? You know you wasn't ready, because right after that, you started wearing all the pimp clothes and started doing the whole Superfly bit. You see what I'm saying? So you know you wasn't ready for it in the whole 9 years. Then you went in the high heel shoes and started acting like Prince. So you know you wasn't ready for it. But at this particular time, we know that anything goes, because you done had 20 years of Star Trek. You done had all millions of years of comic books. So you know in your mind that you're ready for this, and this does not seem like some fall thing that I'm telling you. So therefore, what is happening is this. He's dealing in this mundane realm, and the brotherhood is saying, we got all this power up here for you to utilize it. But if you want to deal in a doggone go and deal, he got a press conference at the doggone White House. Oh, so you think that's great. My point is this, if you identify the devil, say that he's the devil, and then the devil gets mad at you, you don't have to go and have an explanation to the devil by showing no press conference and say that doggone what Khalid said. Now, it's a different what Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, because he specifically told Malcolm X not to go before the people at that particular time. But Khalid been speaking this for 7 or 8 years. And Minister Louis Farrakhan allowed it to happen. So when he gets caught for it, when the white man puts his plan out, see, you don't owe the Jews no doggone explanation. Now, we're not sitting up here talking against our brothers. But what we're trying to say is the white man is not forcing us into a realm. He knows that we on this cosmic level now, and he knows that the black people now are getting stuff right in the middle of the project, and they getting stuff on the UFOs. And they know that every time, and how many people out here done seen the ship? You see them every night. Raise your hand. They know that half the people in here see the ships every night, and if you ain't seen them, all you got to do is learn what they are. The ships are out there. So now they're telling you to keep on this old school business, on a political realm, and a mundane realm, and keep you hollering about stuff that don't make a hill of beans to the Godhead that's coming to exercise things. So therefore, the brotherhood has already said, well, if you put yourself out there saying, I'm the most powerful black man in America, and you ain't backing it up with us, doing what we say to do, by keeping cool and teaching your people and don't worry about going on the white man's media at all, then you got to take full responsibility when this cracker jumps up and say, prove yourself. Now, these are things that's going down. Now, the other thing is to call it Muhammad. Now, you know doggone well, if a man, and they've already said on the spiritual level, that this particular person was a person that was paid a considerable amount of money, we know he had a vendetta because come to find out he was a part of this organization. And they said that this person was also a person that had a microchip. And we know this is nothing that's crazy because we know that Calvin Brady did it when he shot up those people at, Perimeter Mall in 1991. You see what I'm saying? And when he said, I got a microchip in my head is the reason why I did it. So we know that they got a history of mental poisoning from since the 1950s, 1940s, even earlier than that. So that's nothing to have a person like a zombie. Hell, Jim Jones told you that. They got some of his people, his squad now. He dead. He been dead for 16 years. But they still killing people. You see? They got the kamikaze that showed you that. You can brainwash anybody to do what you want. And you know our people has got a price. And you can pay our people to do anything and they'll get who they want to get. Because all our people got a doggone price. You know this for a fact. Before I get into the Carter thing, we know we got a price, and we know that we the pimps and the hoes up here for money, because like I said before, the whole thing went with Will Smith. In that movie, 6 Degrees of Separation. Now, if he ain't no homosexual, why in the devil he gonna have a white boy on top of him pumping him and he hollering like a girl? Woo! Woo! He come to find out when the movie came on, he sought after the role. He thought I wanted the role. So, because you got a wife, that don't mean nothing. Every time you see him, he's doing some shit like this. Who's this friend? So what does that tell you? even Muhammad said, don't sell out, don't buck dance for them for $2 or $3, not even $1 million. So therefore, that's not anything you can do. That's no problem for them to get to the person. So we know now that they said that the person had a microchip in his head and the person had gotten a considerable amount of money. But they said when he shot him, they said the brother was in a spell almost. Now the key to that is this. Believe me, your legs is harder for me to hit than your torso and your stomach, your abdomen, and your head. Right. That's the hardest thing. But the man came and he specifically aimed at the man's legs, and that's what he shot. And he was dead on it. You know he was a good marksman. To shoot a person in the legs, that's harder than shooting him up there. He could have got him in the chest faster. And because the proof was there, because they had already let the man get to the man enough to shoot him, then he could have shot him where he wanted to shoot him. It was already over. The retaliation is over. If he get up enough to shoot your legs, he can shoot you any way he want to shoot you. Right? Because 98%, you know the man was a dead end, because they say when you shoot a gun, the gun goes up. So when you shoot down, the gun goes up and hits higher. So that means he had to have been aiming at the man's legs. Why his legs? Because the Jews and the white man does not operate on killing his opponents like the 60s anymore. The man is on what he does to Harold Washington and one of them Bob Marley deals. Where and the spirit came down with the sister, and she said, listen. She said that they meant to shoot him and they didn't mean to kill him because the bullet had a certain toxin in it. And all they wanted to do was get the toxin in his body. And then therefore he'll self-destruct later on. You see what I'm saying? Just like Harold Washington, just like Bob Marley with the whole gangrene thing. They deal on other realms now. So therefore when he did this particular thing, and he shot him, they knew what they were doing, whoever paid the Jews or the white man or whatever. And they said, and this is why I had to put this particular thing out. Number one, they said if he does not go on a total vegetarian diet and get off of all the meat totally, which all of you are supposed to have done by now, the toxins will magnify in his body and also multiply in his body and will kill him. So therefore, I'm putting this on the tape for you to get the brother Khalid Muhammad, because now we know that the Nation of Islam is a victim of their own security system. You can't get to none of them. You can't get to none of them. You see what I'm saying? Because this whole protection thing about this type stuff at this particular time is no good. Elijah Muhammad taught you that. They shot everybody else up they wanted to shoot up in the 60s, but they couldn't get to him, and it wasn't because of no fruit of Islam. It's because he was dealing on another physical plane, and they know if they would even attempted to get what they tried. And they said they started to pause him and to wash right out his body, but even if they would attempt it, they know that they couldn't even do this stuff because it's on another realm. So therefore, this whole thing that's going down with them is being played. They have forced them into their arena now, with the TV and all of this type of stuff. Now let you know what I'm saying about this whole thing. The Brotherhood gives you a specific job. They say, long as you stay in your area and do your job, you be all right. And long as you're doing your job, and your job is doing to get the people to a certain aim and purpose. At this particular time, it is about getting people to Godhood. Anybody else coming and stepping with you and anything else, it ain't no good. If anybody's stepping with you, telling you not to raise your vibratory rate so you can get the beast off the planet, and so you can exit this planet for a safe haven for a little while, they're not telling you nothing. If anybody's telling you to follow me and I'm the doggone Messiah, and they're going to take you on the promised land, but they're not telling you that you're the Messiah too, that you are the God, this is not written in your law that ye are God. If anybody's telling you that they God and you not God and you to follow them, they're not the right people. Now straight up. This is the deal. Ye are God. And this is the reason why things are going down the way it is. They say the reason why Hemmitt failed, for one reason, they failed to put most of the people in the mystery system. And then you had a group of people that started raising up, and you had a regular people that was trapped in the third dimension and could never free themselves. And they had a dogmatized religion of good moral teachings, which they already know, and just make you feel good. That's a bunch of crack. Cocaine is what it is, and which you have now. So what's happening is if a person is not telling you to yield gods and raise yourself up to the godhood and the whole 9 yards, and if I got a solution to do that, fine. If they tell you anything of that, the Brotherhood is saying they ain't got nothing to do with it. The Brotherhood say that everybody down there, they said most of the doggone leaders they put down here, they gave them all the juice. And they told me this the other Wednesday night. They said they gave them all the juice. They said, but one thing has happened. It's one thing that's the lowest thing on this planet to happen. They said when we give you the juice, there's only one thing that blocks the juice, and it blocks it worse than pork, and that's the ego. They said everybody gains this doggone ego and start talking about they the damn holy apostle. So therefore the current that comes in to help to let you know what I'm talking about, this is what happened to me down in Jacksonville, Florida. Number one, Jacksonville, Florida. The Moors were saying that Jacksonville, Florida, the Moors were saying that they knew that the Nile River was also in America. But they were thinking it was the Mississippi based on the length. Brother Hakeem Bey, but he would be surprised to know that we found, and most of the people lived in Jacksonville knew this stuff. The brother John Tillman told me, he said, well, in Jacksonville is the only river in Jacksonville that runs up north, upstream, just like the Nile River. So that Jacksonville, Florida, was in fact the Nile Valley on this side. This is why Honorable Elijah Muhammad came in the 60s and told the people that Islam and my brand of theology will never rise here because they purposely keep the people down there. They have been purposely keeping the people out of consciousness there because they knew if those people rose up in consciousness, they could go all the way because the actual Nile River, to even be grounded, if you got in the river, even to be grounded, your kundalini would rise. And the reason why I know, a month ago, I went there and John Tillman told me, he said, brother, you're going to rise in Phoenix. I said, okay, cool. So and so I talked to the sister. They said, when you speak to the people's consciousness is going to rise. I said, cool. So I went back another 3 weeks later, and they had already spawned, they already own it. These brothers and sisters coming out the woodwork and they own it. Within 3 weeks, they done got from going from dead, they got a whole society of brothers and sisters trying to get with the frequency. But while I was down there the first time, my kundalini started rising, and I started burning up, sweating, and my kundalini started rising that night after I spoke. And they said that even be around that St. John's River is like the Nile, your kundalini would rise. But the white man purposely pollutes the actual river and keep it polluted because they understand and keep the consciousness down. So if the river is polluted, it'll have a certain amount of toxins in it that the kundalinis can't rise. But if your consciousness is up, the kundalini will rise anyway. So the third time I went down, the second time I went, I purified the river by doing a ritual, which was given to me by the Brotherhood to do. And they own it. But I met a brother by the name of Noah. He calls himself Noah. He said, but I am Noah. But the key to this brother is just like the Sister Tarsila said, that he has a Noah vibration. Number one, there's different overlords that run the universe. Some people are in this overlord, some people are in this overlord, and some people are in this overlord. And there are different realms of the hierarchy. And what section you are under, you can raise yourself up to. And those overlords will get to you if you get in the diet and get with the meditation thing. You'll find out what sect you're in. He's of a Noah deluge, or a Noah overlord, which you can translate something else if you take it all the way back to Kemet. It's some other name. But for the sake of that, he's under this Noah thing. So they started